Hi, Debbie. Great to speak with you again.
Hey, Damon, how are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much. What about you?
Oh, I'm just doing fine. I can't tell you how excited I am with this latest film you've put together.
You're awesome. I really appreciate that.
Oh my God!
Thank you so much for saying it.
The minute Clint sent me an email about it, and I'm like, I have to see it. I have to see it now. I have to see it now. Because he knows I just gravitate. Sharks, crocodiles, if people are getting eaten and killed, I'm in. And
I'm so happy. That makes it. I love it. I love it.
I gotta tell you, it's gators galore. Working with Brandon on this one. Brandon does such a good job. I mean, you did Battle for Saipan with him, and I love his work.
He's such a he's a kind soul.
He really is.
So he's really talented, but then he's so kind and a good person. You can't go wrong with that.
No.
That's what you want to work with.
But the attention to detail in this one, this is something I love about your films where you're involved as a boots-on-the-ground producer, and something I love about Brandon, which I think makes the marriage of the two of you so perfect, is the attention to the detail. The sound design on this film is impeccable. The gator sounds, and then we've got the raging storm, the thunder. We've got multiple kinds of gunfire happening, gators chomping on bones. Just, the sound is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. But that VFX of all the gators, top notch, especially when they're rolling.
Oh, yeah.
And bodies are rolling, victims are rolling in a horizontal vortex.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that before. I've seen some, I think, in Crawl. They actually had the gators roll because gators roll.
Right.
But it wasn't like, this was just spot on, and the vortex it created was just amazing. But it's all done in such a small, confined space.
Yes. Yes.
And then you get this top-notch cast. You get Casper. You've got Mandylor. And then you bring in Nicky Whelan. Of course, I got to talk to Brandon about killing Devanny off in the first opening scene.
I know, right?
So
she died so well in the movie.
She really did. She really
to open up the movie with Devanny it was just she's such a great actor that what it just kind of starts you off on the right foot.
Really does. And I thought, I was so happy to see her. And then I'm like, what the hell is Brandon doing to her?
I know.
But, how did you get this thing thrown together so quickly? Because this was not a long production schedule, I don't think, because the last time I talked to Brandon, he didn't even mention this one.
Yeah, so this movie script was given to me, and I knew right away that it was just chaotic and fun and a lot going on, and we had to make it. So it was devoting 100% of my focus and energy into creating this and bringing this to life. We knew exactly where to go director-wise. We knew that Brandon Slagle was perfect for this. Brandon Slagle is phenomenal when it comes to post.
Yeah.
Because this is a very post-heavy movie. So we knew Brandon was our guy, and then we knew that we had to find actors that will get down and dirty and not be like, oh, I'm wet. I don't want to be wet. It's something that takes a lot of strain on that actor to be in the water.
Yeah.
For 12 hours a day. Of course, they come out between takes, but it's hot, it's muggy, and they did it without complaining at all. They were true champions, and we knew that those people, we know who those people are. We knew Louis Mandylor. We knew Casper Van Dien. We knew Nicky Whelan. We've worked with them all before. Mike Ferguson, Randall Bacon. A list of Ryan Francis. There's just a list of all these talented people came together, and wanted to make this really cool, crazy alligator movie, which was just, yeah.
Well, you need a specific kind of person for a film like this.
Yeah, it takes, just like filling the water tanks up as we're flooding the interior of a prison, because we had to build the whole set. So everything that you see is built from scratch.
Wow.
Abandoned building that was structurally in very good shape. And we ended up building the interior of the prison inside this building, and we had to structure it so the first floor that could hold the most water, weight bearing, was where we would fill the pool up the highest. And then the second floor, we could only go 2 feet. And then the third floor, we could only do like water coming off the walls and everything. So it was a big undertaking, putting this movie together, and just the team that went behind this, and making it in only 14 days too was a big, let's say, bite,
14 days, Damon?
Yeah, 14 days.
Oh my God. That I find just absolutely shocking, because of the fact you're building from scratch, you're filling up the pools with waters. Wow.
Yes, and then you find out along the journey that you actually have to drain the water more than you would think, because when actors go in and you have camera teams in there, the water goes from clear to mucky very quickly. So then when the water would start turning brown because of people's shoes. So you have to start like really figuring, we need to do this differently, because people are walking out and getting a little snack, and then they're coming back, and it's muddying the water up. So how do we, it just, you learn as you go on something like this about making your time most efficient.
Okay, so how did we resolve people tracking in dirt? Was this one of those situations with, like, when you're a kid and your mom is like, take those shoes off before you come in the house because they're covered with mud?
It was. It turned into having like 2 sets of water shoes, one where they can wear when they exit set, and then they always have to change right before they get in, and you have to be very adamant to everybody, because if you're like, we're up, camera's up, and people are running to set, they sometimes forget. So we just had to be very, the AD Gavin had to just be very on the ball about making sure that we followed specific rules and procedures in order to keep everything on track.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, knowing that, now I'm disappointed that the end credits don't have, shoe monitor.
We should have.
How many gallons of water did you go through with this?
Wow, that's a great question. We had to have 2 water trucks on standby at all times. So those big construction water trucks, we had 2 of those filled to the top every day. And then we had to cycle, and then we cycled those. So, and we're having to run that water as they're walking down the stairwell, and water's coming off and coming from the walls, and it's a constant, it was a very wet set.
And okay, now that whenever you're dealing with water and you have people in the water, that also, as if you don't have enough to worry about with water and muddy feet and shoes, you've also got to worry about the toll that the water is taking on the costumes.
Oh, yes. And also the temperature in which the actors have to stand in this water. And then they start getting, if you're wearing clothes, and you're like moving around in water and you're wet, you start getting very uncomfortable.
Yep.
Very quickly, like an hour into it, you're like, this is miserable. So it was, and that goes back to why you choose the actors that you choose, because you know that they're there specifically for their heart, their resilience, the quality of acting, their performance. Like they're gonna bring it all, and that's what they did.
They're not there because they like standing in water in soaking wet clothes.
No, not at all.
Not even Casper.
No, not even Casper.
And Casper and Lewis will go through anything.
Yeah, he's a champion. He'll get into that, and he'll perform, and he'll give it his all. I love Casper.
So now, how many costume changes? I mean, everybody wears the same costume for the entire film because it happens in the course of hours. But how many costume changes did you have to have for each person?
Well, there were quite a lot because, people get injured or their blood gets on their clothes, or, I think it was like 4 or 5 sets.
For each person.
Some people get like gash from an alligator, and then plus always the water. So it's quite substantial on
wow.
And then between that and then the makeup,
mm-hmm.
and that was really hard too, because this waterproof makeup, people are always getting just drenched. It was really hard.
And I hate to point this out, but waterproof makeup is only waterproof to a certain point.
Yeah.
In case anyone has any doubts about that, any woman will tell you that.
Yeah. I heard that on set.
Yeah.
Those were the exact words being muttered.
Yeah. And then you throw in guns and armament.
Yes.
What kind of challenges? Because you've got a lot of guns underwater. They are not as effective as Hollywood has often portrayed them to be. Right.
So we took the approach of, there were no real guns on set. So
right.
we did everything with CGI. However, we did do a lot of practical effects in the sense of we would have dust hits and spark hits against the wall to
mm-hmm.
show there was bullet fire
mm-hmm.
being exchanged. We would have candy glass on the window to show that people are shooting through it and there's an explosion of glass everywhere. And then we would do a lot of wire work. So, for instance, when the guard gets hit with the shotgun, he's completely rigged with wires, and he flies across the room. Devanny was rigged with wires too to spin so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Handled that brilliantly.
Wow. These are the intricate things that a lot of people don't think about when I'm going to make a film with alligators eating people in a jail, and it's going to be flooded. They don't think about these things, and moviegoers, when they see it, they don't realize what you have to go through to put this together, and all of these factors, the amount of water you need, draining the tanks, refilling them, 4 and 5 costume changes per person, multiple makeup artists, just the armament, be it fake, be it no bullets, and then you get into your VFX, and all of this adds to the cost of this film.
Oh, yeah. Extremely. And then the VFX was really interesting, too, because, we basically had to establish an eye line of where is the alligator.
Yeah.
So we have these actors on set that are being directed by Brandon about, where is the alligator? Where is the perspective? What's happening at this moment? And it was, our director just shouting commands, and it was flawless. They did so well when they did this.
What VFX house did you use for the gators? Because they look fantastic.
Yeah, so the VFX house, we used Paul, and that's a great question. I know them. I've used them multiple times, and I'm drawing a blank right now. Let me look at that.
Yes, because IMDb does not tell us who the VFX house is.
Yeah, it's
Oh, come on. Now, I'd be asking you something tough like this.
You know what? And you're absolutely correct. And I'm just like drawing. It's actually the same house that did Maneater. So it's Paul Knott, and I know Paul and Steve. Like, I just always say Paul and Steve, but I forget their company name, unfortunately.
That's okay. As long as you know it's Paul and Steve.
Yeah, it's Paul Knott and Steve. They both did Maneater as well.
Oh my God! What am I going to do with you?
I'm gonna give me more rest. Let me sleep longer that night.
Hey, you're the one who keeps coming up and getting involved with these fun films.
I know, it doesn't stop. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of tired. My body is tired.
Well, it should be at the rate that you crank out films, Damon.
Oh, it's like that addiction. You love the thrill of being on set and the art of deal making. It's so it's intoxicating. It's hard to stop.
It's just never ending and especially you, because you are so boots on the ground with the films that you're involved with. You're typically not one of these titular producers, and you don't do anything.
Right, yeah. I see it from the very start to the very end, and I will start on set from day one. I'll be there the first, I'll be one of the first people there to one of the last people they'll leave. But that gradually, the hours spent on set, as the team becomes in sync and precise, it's less time that I have to spend on set. Mm-hmm. But you start with overseeing it every single solitary, moment until you're like, okay, well, I could go work on this financing, or I could go do this deal, or you could spend less time on set the more your team comes together. But until your team comes together, you need to be there.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of your team, I love the fact that, and getting everybody in sync, and I think this is really important on a film like The Flood, because of the moving parts and the challenges with the water, with the VFX, with the wire work, is the fact that not only do you have Brandon directing, but you've got Niccolo coming back, who was DP on Battle for Saipan, so he's now reteamed, and also bring in Austin Nordell as one of the editors, who was the editor on Battle for Saipan. So you've got this core team that they've worked together before, so they kind of have a shorthand.
Yeah, they're people that you can trust, and that's like really, really important, that we're able to, trust the people that you're working with. You just know that the job is going to get done, and that the quality of work is going to be deliverable. We don't have to go back through and re-edit the whole movie, and you can just trust people.
Mm-hmm. What makes them really good for this film, Battle for Saipan, the editing on that was so sharp. It was rapier. And of course, Niccolo's cinematography on that one, great camera angles, comes up with unique angles, unique Dutches for certain shots, can go all the way down low on the ground and be flat to the ground, Dutch on up, be up high, Dutch down, capture things that are whizzing by. And it's a wider space, a wider platform that he had to work with in Saipan. But because of his agility with the camera and with the lighting design. He knows how to work the camera and make it do what Brandon wants it to do.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Working in a contained space, I think, made him perfect as the cinematographer here, because it is so much smaller.
We love Nico. He's somebody that we can trust. He is brilliant. He's talented, and his team, his camera department, his G&E team, they respect him. So he knows Thailand very well. He specializes in action, and he really takes everything to heart, like extremely. He can feel not sick, or he could feel sick or hurt his ankle, and a lot of people would be like, "Oh no, I can't come into work today." But he's there no matter what kind of obstacle he's facing personally. He always shows up and gives 100%. So I love that about him as a human being.
Mm-hmm. Well, and something I notice here with the lighting that was rigged up for this film, it's not standard lighting that I'm seeing because of the color palette that's being used, but also where the lights are.
So that's a great comment, because it's how Niccolo had his gaffer rig the lighting, because we were in the set that we built, and so the lighting was mostly coming from above.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was practicals that we were putting in inside the set, but it was how the rigging was done had to be a lot from the top. So between the way that he shot that in camera, and then plus the coloring that Brandon helped establish with Nico, it really did the trick.
The lighting, I think, in this one, it's really interesting. It's not what I would have expected, because I think the film closest to this one that I can think of with a similar concept of police stations and creepy crawly things and lots of water was Werner Herzog's film with Nick Cage, Ports of Call. And there, while Werner went a bit more saturated than you guys did, but it's still that same shades of gray, but not gray. You get that greenish gray, a really sickly color of wall paint inside that jail, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, and that's all. Nico was the one that chose the colors. He goes through, and he's the one talking to art department with Brandon, of course. But Nico's really the one that is like, with the light hitting at this angle and refracting on the water, we really need this color of wall in order to obtain the vision that we're going for. So he just really comes through for us in those situations.
And you just mentioned one of my favorite things about water that is often so overlooked and a lot of people don't understand it, be it live action or in animation, since now with animation we're at the point of refraction and reflection have become real, which also ups the ante for live action, that the refraction and the reflection better really look real, and we better see some on camera.
Exactly, and that's why we were, with such a limited time, able to get such a great picture, is because Niccolo has such a great eye on just, if there's only a few people that I think could have shot that, because we were moving so quickly and there's so many elements in place. So just him and his team were phenomenal.
How long was the VFX process of getting those gators in there? Because I got to tell you, number one, the look of the gators and the fact there is size differential between them. There is no teeth differential, but there is actual length and width, the girth of them. There is size differential, but their movements. We do, number one, we get the gator movement is down. The walking is just perfect. It's actually, that's how they walk. But also
a lot of notes, because we internalize how are the gators going to walk? How are they going to
swim?
Look before they attack? What about the mouth opening? When do they show their teeth? When do they keep their mouth closed? All of those factors were discussed with a team of like 8 people, and it took us 4.5 months to do all the VFX shots on this. It was, I think it was around 250 shots. It's almost 9.5 minutes of gator VFX that we had in this movie.
Wow. Well, and then here again, this is where the editing, where James and Austin do such a good job with the editing, because the gators really are front and center.
Yes.
It feels like they were on screen more than 9.5 minutes. I got to tell you, Damon.
The editing duo here was great because James has a very specific technique when it comes to the VFX side of things. He knows how to pull the plates, where to pull them, how to edit the scene, and then Austin is working on the storyline. So you have 2 people kind of doing 2 different things. You have to have an editor really working the small details of all the CGI aspects of the film, and then the editor that was doing overall storyline. So having those 2 work together, we couldn't have done it without them both.
I mean, because the fact that I felt like the gators were more prominent than 9.5 minutes, that speaks volumes to how tightly this is constructed, because you've got to sell those gator moments.
Yeah, it's just really important that, we didn't want to come across like a cheesy gator film. We know we have moments. We're not a studio, but we gave it our best for a 14-day shoot with a limited budget. We really gave it all that we possibly could and put everything that we could. We didn't leave anything on the table on this movie.
But hey, you actually get 2 sequences in the film that are outside and not inside the prison. We have Mandylor as Calderon. We've got him and his group outside pursuing prisoners to the jail. And of course, we also get to see Casper's character of Cody and Nicky Whelan's character as Sheriff Newman. We get to see them on jet skis.
Yeah, so, actually shooting that bus scene was probably one of the funnest moments, because we had like a water tank hooked up to the top of a bus, and then we just were driving the bus with the water coming down like it was raining, and all the actors were so into it, and it was a really fun scene to shoot. Now, we actually started with the very first day with Casper and Nicky parting ways on the jet skis.
Mm-hmm.
So that was day 1. So that was, and then, and then we went into all the heavy production design and waterworks after that. But we wanted to get through kind of the lighter days. And then we moved it and just gave our art team more time to build and create these sets. So, you start with the bus scenes and the exterior, and then you slowly and gradually move into the more technical water scenes.
Mm. Well, by doing the bus scene and the jet ski scenes first, you also let everybody get a little bit damp before they get saturated.
Yes. Like I really love the scene where all the prisoners are getting out. It's slow-mo, and Nicky's out with a shotgun, and it's kind of a small character introduction to all the prisoners that are walking. It's like, I love that moment. It's such a trailer moment for me. Kind of sets the tone for, like, what are we going to experience?
I love that moment, but then you piggyback that when they are all inside the jail and she's asking each one of them their name, and we're getting to see more about each of these characters. And then as water starts coming in, and you see what chicken shits most of them are,
Yes.
And we really start learning more about them and who each one of them is. Like the big burly guy, you think, he's going to brave anything. And he's scared to death of heights. He's scared of this, that, and the other. And it's really interesting how much character reveal we get here. You would not expect that in a film like this, Damon.
Thank you. Yeah, it was important for us to give each character a real to make the film more interesting, because they're in close quarters. They all have very specific kinds of personalities.
Yeah.
Randall Bacon, a friend of mine, he played Jocks. He was just that hardcore gangster, and then he's getting in there, and he's having this kind of like racial moment with another character, and to see that those actors were so in the moment, right? But then they snapped right out of it, because they had to get to know each other before they start making these comments to each other.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're like, things that are not appropriate.
Yes.
And then, but they're such great actors that they give it all, and then afterwards they're laughing about it.
Mike Ferguson did a great job. I love Ryan Francis as Stamper. He really...
Oh, yeah, he's a sweetheart, and he's really great at what he does.
That character of Stamper, and the way he's going to step out there, and it's like he knows how to deal with gators, and he's trying to do it. I was riveted watching that, because you figure some good old Southern boys from the back hills, yeah, they're out there in the swamps growing up. So if anybody's got a shot at how to handle these gators, he's going to be the one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was, and that's one of the reasons that we cast him. He just came across so naturally at it, and we knew that after speaking with him and hearing him, that's who we need to cast.
You did an amazing job with the casting here. Was it a long casting process?
It was a rapid-fire casting process. we knew what we were looking for, and we don't have time to ponder. We have to just go with our guts. We know what we're looking for. We know the temperament of the people that we're looking for, and the skill shined on readings, and we just knew that. Yep, this is it. This is it. We got this. Let's go make a movie.
So now, this is coming out in July. It's coming up shortly.
Yeah, very shortly.
What do you have? Because I know you've got a lot of stuff that's on the slate, that's in post, that might be finished, isn't out yet. What's the next stuff you have coming up?
Well, I simultaneously shot another film right after this in Thailand called 3 Days in Malay, which is a World War II movie that Mandylor directed, that Rampage Jackson starred in with Cowboy Cerrone and also Mandylor. So we shot these two films back to back. We were in Thailand almost 3 months. So that will be the next film coming out around August.
Brandon wrote that one.
Yeah, he did.
And to see Lewis directing, I'm really curious to see. And he's in it, too.
Yeah, he's like a Spartan. I call him a Spartan director, because he gets in there so gritty with the talent, and he'll show them exactly what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He will demonstrate what the scene needs to look like, and he'll be rolling around in the dirt, and he'll be giving it his all. And he also storyboards, so we always have a clear picture of what he wants. And, that's how we're able to shoot a World War II movie in 10 days.
Did you guys did Brandon storyboard for this one? For the flood?
We had certain aspects of the crocodiles or the alligator scenes boarded out. Yeah, that was done by the Thai art department.
Okay. I didn't ask you when we've spoken before, but What is it about shooting in Thailand for you that makes this a great place for you as a producer, as a filmmaker?
I love Thailand. Thailand is a beautiful place and when you have the right attitude in Thailand, good things happen. Like if you're kind-hearted and good to people, and people will treat you and respect you, and they will work very hard for you. There's no egos when it comes to film sets. It's a different style. It's just a normal job. It's not like, oh, I'm working in Hollywood. It's just a very humble, hardworking team that will give you all, and then show up the next day ready to go and will really support you. So I love that, and that's one of the reasons that I've made so many films in Thailand. I love Thailand.
Yeah, I was curious because you do. It's like you have an umbilical cord to Thailand for all for all the films that you make there.
I think it's one of the greatest places on the planet to make a film. That's why I'll keep going back. I'll continue to go back. I have business partners, Benetton Films in Thailand. We've been doing business for about 15 years. It's all trust. When you trust, you just continue. And when you have something good, don't mess it up. Just keep going, get better, and evolve.
I'm definitely going to have to bug Clint and tell him when 3 Days in Malay comes out, I have to talk to you about it after I see it.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait for you to see it. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Do you know who's distributing that one yet?
Yeah, it's Saban. It's Saban, and Clint is just like such an amazing human. Like I've known him forever too.
Yeah.
It's like you love your film family. That's what this is. It's a film family.
Yeah.
I love bringing new people in, but it's hard to come in because, you have to trust. But once you start trusting, it's a family.
I'm just very excited about 3 Days in Malay now, especially because Lewis is directing, and I really want to see what he does.
Yeah, he's such a great filmmaker. I think you're going to be very sure, oh my gosh, wait, what? That's what I took from it when I saw the performances that he was able to get out of the talent and his vision. That's why I had him do. He directed Operation Blood Hunt right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's another World War II, but it's a werewolf movie. It's supernatural.
So cool.
Run into a supernatural, creatures out in the middle. Another creature movie.
So when do I get that one? You got werewolves and World War II all rolled into one. Oh, come on, Damon. You're killing me here.
I know, smorgasbord all over.
Because it's like, I love war movies. I love World War II movies. I love the take whenever it's, involves the Japanese or something in the Pacific Theater.
Oh yeah, you're gonna dig this. And we have Jonathan Rhys-Meyers in it. He was phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was great. So
does he turn into a werewolf? Tell me, does he turn it? Because I can see as a werewolf.
Yeah, you know what? He's like almost, his character is almost like an immortal that is basically running an underground syndicate that watches over people. He will.
Wow.
He provides weaponry to fight off the bad creatures of the night. So he runs a bar, people come and see him, and he's like a scholar of the supernatural.
Well, wait a minute. You said he runs a bar. You had me and he runs a bar. That's...
yeah.
That works.
It's like an old, like it was in the film, it's a British pub, high-end British bar that he runs, and people will come in and get supernatural weaponry to fight off vampires.
Oh my God.
And he's the one that is, he's the guy to go see.
And how soon is that one going to come out?
Oh, well, we're almost picture locking that. So we're about 3 weeks away from having that completely picture locked, and then we'll figure out a release date.
Well, it's always fun to hang out on the phone with you.
It's a pleasure. It really is.
Damn it, I can't thank you enough. This has, again, been so much fun talking with you.
Likewise. I thank you so much, Debbie, and I look forward to our next conversation.
I can't wait. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.